Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we're here with our good friend John-Paul Bove as we review the Transformers Valentine's Day special. We're going to talk about the upcoming Transformers 84 miniseries and the new Transformers and My Little Pony crossover. So please, won't you be my Valentine? Today is Friday, February 14th, 2020, and this is episode 168 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that knows transforming robots are magic. I'm your host, Charles, a.k.a. Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, a.k.a. Yakko.
Hey, how's it going?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Do you believe in magic? I do. Let's talk Transformers.
And we are joined again this week by friend of the show, artist, colorist extraordinaire, Mr. John-Paul Bove.
Welcome to my latest cry for help.
He's done some writing, hasn't he?
I've
You're
done some
limiting
what?
him by
Some right wing? What?
Writing is art. Writing is art. That
It
counts
is an
as
art. It is an art, yeah.
If you say so. but you're saying artist and
author, artist, colorist extraordinaire, Mr.
there
John-Paul
you go.
Bove.
There you go. You're
And lover.
oh.
Thank you for joining us, JP.
Hey, I had no choice, but you're welcome anyway.
You want us to loosen the cuffs a little bit?
If you could, yeah, it's beginning to chafe.
Hey, the legal issues have all been resolved, so we had to come back.
Yeah. This is part of my community service, so...
All right. We'll be talking with JP a little bit later in the comics segment because he's got some upcoming comics coming out, so we want to talk about that. But first off, we always start the show by thanking our Donatreons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. If you want to become a Donatreon, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. And JP is back on the show to remind us that we've got that super high tier $1,000 a month level where we all come to your house and do a personal show for you, and JP brings the ham. So
Always.
please consider signing up at that level. You'll be set for life.
Yeah. As long as, well, in fact, it might be for life, because this ham is a few years old, and if you did eat it, your life might be very short indeed. So it's accurate.
If you'd like to contribute maybe at a smaller amount, you can buy some merchandise from our TeePublic store. That's at transmissionspodcast.com/shop. You can also visit K-Girl's store at tpublic.com/user/superstark. And K-Girl is an awesome artist, friend of the show, who's done a lot of work for us in the past. You can see her designs there, and some of her designs are also on our store and are in our Transmissions shirts. So check them out. We've also, this coming Monday, we have episode 17 of Empire of Rust, our Transformers action live play RPG podcast run by our editor and producer, Mike Ordway, and his crew of Transformers RPG players. This week's episode is 5D8 Collision Detection. And there's a battle continuing on at Metal Hawk Landing in the world of the Empire of Rust Cybertron. So check that out this Monday, February 17th. And if you haven't started listening yet, all the episodes are there at transmissionspodcast.com/rust.
Charles, what would the consequences be if someone didn't?
If someone didn't listen to Empire of Rust?
Yeah, you need to start threatening people. What's going to happen? What are you going to do to them if they don't? Talk tough. Come on, Charles.
JP will send that ham to your house and you'll be forced to eat it.
No, you only get that for $1,000, my friend. What's going to happen is we'll stop talking to you. We'll find you and we'll send you hours of silent podcasts. Okay? So we mean business here.
Well, I want to take this opportunity to ask you, JP, have you listened to Empire of Rust? Have you checked that out yet?
I have not, Charles. But do you know the reason why? Because no one has threatened me yet. I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of all of you. What people want is a sense of dread that forces them to listen to things. So, let's make it happen.
So let's just say snipers are in place.
hashtag red dots. So, tune in is what I'm saying.
Fair enough. And we will have special episodes that feature me and Jeremy in a special side story on the Empire of Rust special that's only going to be available through the Transmissions Patreon or through our PayPal access through. So that's going to be coming in March. Those will be special podcasts. They're kind of side stories that link up to the main Empire of Rust story. So check those out.
It was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, very fun. Hadn't done any role playing in a long time, so it was really fun to get back into it.
It's all just part of the 35 hours a day of content that you guys are producing.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking at twice the speed, so that you can pack more time in and then slowing it. Then Michael, poor man, has to slow it all down and fit it all in to produce 118 podcasts a week. It's good stuff, honestly. It's great. There will always be more podcasts than there are time to listen to it in. That's what I'm proud of you. I'm terrified, but I'm proud of you.
Well, you can cancel your Netflix and Disney Plus subscription because you won't have time
Already
to watch
done.
anything.
Yeah. Mandalorian, Manda Schmorian.
That goes on the soundboard, Jeremy. All right, let's talk about some comics news. All right, first up in comics news, we've got more teaser images from Transformers Galaxies number 4, the long-delayed but eagerly anticipated book that should be out next week, hopefully, crossing our fingers. But
they keep teasing us with all this other information just to remind us, hey, this is a thing that's actually eventually going to come out.
Yeah. But yeah, Livio's art is great, so we've got some more images. But yeah, we just want to see the end of the story. We want to read issue 4, so we really hope it's coming next week.
I'm skipping straight ahead to issue 5.
We've also got Livio's got more art. He's got a special cover for Transformers number 18. This is an exclusive for San Diego Rocket Con. So if you are going to that convention, you can pick up an exclusive cover for Transformers number 18. That will be that con will be out. That con will take place at Scottish Rite Masonic Center, California, March 21st to 22nd. Just a little over a month away.
On my screen, it's just come up as a tiny little like emoji of a poo. So I'm just clicking on the link so I can give a slightly more accurate view, because I'm assuming that Livio didn't just do a little poo for his cover.
I think that's Discord messing with you,
yeah,
JP.
That's nice.
That's not the actual link.
That's a nice cover.
But yeah.
I'm pleased Livio changed his mind from doing a little poo. That's good. Optimus and Megatron is the classic. Little chibi poops, not so much.
And the big news this week is that we've got another Transformers crossover announced. Transformers and My Little Pony: Friendship in Disguise. I think I can speak for everyone when I say we didn't see this coming. Yeah. So this is going to be written by Ian Flynn and James Asmus, illustrated by Tony Fleeks and Jack Lawrence. Hey, Jack Lawrence, I know him. So this is going to be coming out in May. So just a few months away. So IDW has put out a press release. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the press release actually has more information than the other article, where the writers James Asmus, Ian Flim, and Sam Maggs,
Oh, okay.
artists Casey Collar, Jack Lawrence, Sarah Petrie-Roche, Priscilla Tramontano, and Tony Flex, who also provides cover artwork.
Oh, so everyone.
Yes. I think I can see why Casey has been posting pictures of robotic ponies on his Instagram.
Yeah, so I'm not really familiar with the ponies at all, so I'll be interested to. I mean, I'm it's Transformers, so I'm gonna buy it, but I'm curious as to what they're gonna do here, how this is, what even the. I mean, we've got a little blurb here. Queen Chrysalis is casting a spell. And accidentally interferes with a Cybertronian space bridge, and that brings the Autobots and Decepticons to Equestria. Okay.
Seem to know those names pretty well.
Yes, Optimus Prime and Megatron and Autobots and
No,
Decepticons.
the
I
other
know those
ones,
names.
the pony names.
I read it off the press release, Daryl.
You pronounced them perfectly, from what I understand.
Yes, I can read English at a college level even.
I've yet to see any evidence of that, but okay.
This has got a little bit of polarizing, feedback online. I mean, we joked about it in the first show that any Transformers announcement is going to get polarizing feedback. I mean, people online are just going to complain, but
how dare you?
We've seen with some previous crossover events that if they're done properly, they can be fantastic, as long as they keep it kind of fun. They don't try to make it too serious. Then I have no qualms with this. It's you're going to have a bunch of people in the pony fandom and people who read the pony books picking this up because of ponies, and you're going to have Transformers fans picking this up because of Transformers. Just keep it light, keep it fun, and don't try to do too much with it, right? And it can be great. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. The art, if Casey's got some art in here, Casey does fantastic work.
Yeah.
There's it's ponies and Transformers. They're IDW properties. We honestly should have seen something like this coming. but yeah, I mean, they're crossing everything over now, and as long as the books are fun, I honestly really don't have an issue with this.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a nice contrast between this and the Terminator crossover.
Yeah.
Well, let's not rule out ponies, Transformers, and Terminator crossover, which we're all. I just feel those thematically would gel together just brilliantly. I don't know an enormous amount about this, but what I do know, I think it is going to be tremendous amounts of fun. I think it's very much done with fun in mind. So that's all I can tell you about it based on what little I do know. But it just seems like it's the way that they're that it's been explained to me that it's going to come out should actually be kind of delightful. But we'll see. I'm not a pony fan at all, but I just think if you're going to do it the way that I've heard they're doing it, just sounds perfect.
Cool.
Well, I hope they saw a lot of what worked with the Ghostbusters Transformers crossover, and they're just taking the same kind of mindset with this, because that one was a lot of fun.
Yep. And I think we're gonna have to find some pony fans to help us out, because we're probably gonna review this on the show, so we're gonna need to have some guests to help us figure this out, because I think, at least are you guys any familiar with ponies? I have no context.
No.
Not since my daughter was little. But the one thing I did want to bring up is when I talked to John Warden and their team at Fan Expo last year, that I did ask a question about the Ghostbusters one, and he replied with a question to me about the future of crossovers. And he had asked me about the ones that I would want to see, and this was not my answer, but but he did respond with saying that they were looking to do franchises that were on similar anniversary paths. So Transformers, I don't think this is an anniversary of anything right now. 35th anniversary was last year, right?
Off the top of my head, Ponies and Beast Wars is a missed opportunity, surely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
True.
I'm available, just if anyone's
You've done Beast Wars book before.
But so I mean, if anyone's out there trying to predict any kind of future crossovers, just try and figure out the anniversaries that all these other franchises have, and trying to line them up with each other. So that
Alf.
seems to be Alf.
Alf. I'm sure he's on a 30-year, 35-year. Let's just get Alf in there. Transformers and Alf.
Alf's back.
He tries
in
to
Pog form.
In Pog form. Yeah. He tries to eat Ravage. That would be the inciting incident. For anyone who's not an old fart, you will not have a clue what Alf is, but go Google it. You'll feel no reward, but at least you'll have some knowledge.
All right, we want to wrap up the comics news segment because we do have JP on the show. And JP, you've done a lot of comics work for Transformers, particularly you've been focusing. You have.
Well, I mean, it's half-assed, but it's
yeah.
there.
I mean, yeah. Thank you.
But I think you've become kind of one of the members of the retro G1 old school team at IDW. You know, we've got Simon Furman, Guido Guidi, and you have collaborated a bunch of times. Regeneration 1, I think, was a major one. Then you did Transformers 84 number 0 last year. Yep. And now this year we've got the Transformers 84 miniseries coming up. So
yes.
JP, could you give us some insight as to what's going on with Transformers 84 coming up in just a couple of months?
What can I tell you? I can't think how much I can tell you. Transformers. So issue 0 did really well, and was people liked it, which is also great. When I spoke to Simon not long before the book came out, he'd said to me that there were a number of these little pockets throughout the timeline that he thought had potential for being expanded on. Kind of, we hoped that Transformers 84 would do well, and that perhaps people would want it, because I know whatever people's likes and dislikes, and everyone has a view about comics and Transformers and whether something's 2G1, not, or something new or what have you. But I think the good thing with IDW, it has always tried to have a bit of something for everyone, something new and something old. And yeah, it's definitely going to continue scratching that the nostalgia itch. Yeah, what can I tell you about it? So all I can say is you've seen the issue 1 cover with a character you might not have expected to be on there, given the time frame, and Shockwave and the lovely Ratbat. So they are definitely in the story. I'm trying to think what else I can tell you. I guess some of it is to say, the only thing I can say that isn't too spoilery is you will see some events that take place at roughly the same time as the Ark launch, but from a different perspective. So it's sort of, again, continuing to expand the detail about what happened before and shortly after the Ark launched. And that's probably all I can say without getting into detail. So it's really for IDW or Simon's the one who can spoil bits and pieces for you. But I'm insanely excited to be doing it. There's a lot of characters in this who I adore, who are in there, and I have not had a chance to, that didn't appear in the first issue, in issue 0. So, and it's out in April, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's very soon. Yeah.
So if you can ask me questions, and I'll see if whether they're ones I can answer or not. I'm fearful of informing you of too much.
Is this supposed to be 4 issues?
It's 4 issues, yeah.
What are the chances that this 4 issues turns into 80 issues?
Well, there would have been a time I'd have said 0, but then Transformers has had more second comings than Lazarus. I think the impression I got from Simon was that there's probably 4 or 5 kind of ideas or threads in particular that he had in mind when the project first came up. Now, how many of those are all in these 4 issues, I don't know. So at this point, I've only read the first one, so I don't know exactly where it ends up or anything else. But there's always a chance. You know, I know when you guys reviewed 84, one of the things that Yoshi said was, this could have been 2 issues. And I think, there will be some bits and pieces of detail that pepper around issue 0 a bit, from different characters' perspectives. And yeah, there's a 4 million year gap in the storytelling. So, I would be content with Simon telling this story for another 4 million years. So I don't know. I hope so. Guido's work is a delight to work on. I'm getting to do covers with Casey, which again, he's my brother. It's just unbridled delight to work with those guys. And I haven't intentionally set out to be the old school guy, but I have absolutely no problems with being that guy, because I've got to work with just everybody pretty much at this point that I've loved, either growing up or love nowadays. So I have just done a few pages for the ongoing. That was nice to do some modern stuff, because I do that as well. But yeah, so who knows? If people buy it, there is definitely people want a nostalgic book, in finger quotes, a G1 book. So yeah, it could be. Who knows? Yeah, even Regen was only supposed to be 20, and it got expanded to 22 between the issue 0 and the 80.5. So as long as I get the chance to work on it, I don't mind.
With Regeneration 1 and with the 84 series, are you trying to recapture the old school 80s coloring look? Like, are you summoning the ghost of Nel Yomtov? Or I don't know if he's dead
ghost,
or not. But,
the future ghost of Nel Yomtov. His time-traveling spirit. Yeah, I mean, with Regen was sort of a hybrid. So Regen had a lot of, the inks were very old school and very, very heavy inks. And when the inks are very heavy, you can't do a massive amount with the colours without really fighting against it. With Regen, I tried to keep things similar. So, when you see Primus's chamber, the colours are all the same. But I wasn't, there's no zip tones or dots in Regen. And I also used effects like glows and things like that. Very modern, kind of effects. When I did issue 0 of Regen, we jumped around a bit in terms of styles. And like Jeff Senior's one was done very much to mimic the old school book and the colour schemes and everything else. Because I was colouring that book whilst on my honeymoon, I didn't necessarily... well,
that's where all the passion came through, because that was the issue that I fell in love with your coloring, that issue 0. I remember... because that was all those different styles and the way you meshed them together. I thought it was just excellent. So I felt the love in that issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where, and sometimes when you spend, the easiest thing to have done would have just been to colour it the easiest possible way. But when you love Transformers, as I do, and you kind of know what you'd want someone to do. And I just thought I can't I can't shortcut this, because I was asked on this one. John Barber said to me, because I said, it's going to be a bit of a struggle to hit this deadline, and and he said to me, "Well, do you want me to get someone to help do a few pages?" And I thought, no, I can't. I don't want to surrender this to anyone because it's Jose Delbo and Jeff Anderson and Jeff Senior and Nick Roche. Like, how do you? I can't. And Casey. There's not a single person on that list I would refuse to. So I was actually staying at Casey's house in New England during some of it. And, God bless him as the nicest man on earth. He was there helping me do flats. So he was doing colour flats on some of the pages. A couple of my other friends in the UK were doing colour flats to try and speed things along for me. But as such, I wasn't able to look at the old issues in huge amounts of detail to get them to match exactly. But I did the Transformers Definitive Collection colour stuff, which I know you guys in the States have not been able to get, but I think is some of it coming out. Isn't IDW releasing something soon? I thought of some of the coloured stuff I did, the Marvel UK stuff that was black and white. And when I was doing that, so as I've done with all of these now, I've been scanning in the old books at 1,200 kind of DPI, so absolutely enormous scans to look at exactly how Yom Tov achieved those colours. So, Dinobot Grey is a series of insane colour combinations, including magenta and green, with a tiny bit of white in between that just looks like a nightmare until you zoom out, and then actually it just looks like the grey you would expect. And just trying to, so that if you did go from one book to the next, it would kind of make sense. The only thing that is a deviation from the old stuff is I tend to put shine and highlights on, still using only the techniques that you could have used on the old books. There's no shortcuts or cheating on there at all. It's all very much done in exactly the style that the old books were. It's just that because it can be done on the computer, it is a little bit easier for me to do highlights and a bit of rendering, a little bit of gleam on the characters, which would have been a nightmare of cutting it out by hand, for Yom Tov. So it's a slightly modern twist on the old school, but it's very much done only in what could have been achievable in the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
So yeah, sorry for that incredibly long thing there, but.
Oh, thanks. I mean, that's we're looking forward to it. So, and maybe if you can put in a good word for us with Simon Furman, we'd like to have him on the show to talk about that too. So,
absolutely,
we'll be reaching out. And,
has Simon been on before?
He has not. No. So, we've had near misses, but just haven't gotten the stars to align to get him on. So.
He didn't want to do the 4 a.m. stint. That's what it was.
That's probably true. But I mean, so I think we're motivated now with this new series to make a special effort to get him on, and because we've got to pick his brain with all the classic stuff. I mean, we haven't talked to him at all about the classic stuff from the 80s. I mean, yeah. I mean, Simon Furman is my my idol from G1 Comics growing up. I mean, so yeah. All right. Well, thanks, JP, for giving us a little insight, and yeah, we're looking forward to Transformers 84. So
also, before we go, there's one book he has coming out next week that there's that Power of the Predacons 100-page book that has his Dawn of the Predacus.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Book in it.
That's indeed. This week, I think. That's
your
this week.
Writer and colorist.
Yeah.
Yes, in a rare combination of credits, writer and colorist.
Right.
But I did actually. I wrote a sort of a prequel because the original Dawn of the Predacus, the sort of the germ of the idea that became that comic was originally designed to be to have slightly less of the Beast Wars cast in it until it was meant to be a bigger story that they sort of came in closer to the end. But the nature of the convention comic meant certain things had to be, everything had to be condensed, but also certain toys had to be featured, which meant a couple of things that I really wanted to put in there or establish weren't going to fit. I had always planned to, when the book came out, to do a prose story that was sort of like that set up the context of what happens with Dawn of the Predacus, which I've written. There wasn't, unfortunately, room for it in the 100-page special, so I'm probably going to just post it online at some point as just a bit of bonus bit if people are interested. But it's sort of the opening page of Dawn of the Predacus, the crater in the ground when you discover that Optimus Prime has genuinely died, and so has Galvatron. There's a bit of story as to exactly what happened in that moment that was I was very, very sad to lose, because it would have been it couldn't go in there because the toys had to go in, and also you had to have I had to show them combining, which meant that, certain story beats can't avoid, but it meant this little bit of information had to get lost, and it broke my heart a bit to not have it in there. So I'd always written it because I needed to get it out my filter and into words, and whether it got published or whether it was something that I just put out as a thing, it didn't really matter. I just kind of needed to tell people. So anyone that came up to me at the con and said, about Dawn of the Predacus, I'd always tell them the bit of story that was planned to go in the beginning. And a few people said, I really want to see that. Or I really want to read that. So if I figure out how I'm going to publish it, I'll let you know.
Cool. Yeah, we'll look forward to that.
Look forward to reading that.
And the only other thing is, I think it's issue 21. I've done a cover along with Casey for issue 21 of the ongoing, which I insanely happy with. I'm not often with things I'm like, yeah, it's fine. But this one, for some reason, I don't know if it's just because I haven't had a chance to do something modern with Casey for a long time, that I had so much fun doing it. It's generally one of the happiest I've been with a piece of work. So I'm really looking forward to if they put the preview up of that at some point, the solicits. I hope you like it.
Cool. We'll look forward to that too.
You better. I'm doing this all to get your attention, Charles. How many Intertransformers to get to you? Okay. You had me at...
All right. Well, let's move on to our comic review for this week. So JP, since he is a professional, he does not stick around for the comic reviews since, he's not going to review other people's work. So we're going to do this one just the regular Transmissions host. So we are reviewing the Transformers Valentine's Day Special. This has two stories. So the main story is written by Patrick Ellers, art by Jack Lawrence, and colors by Josh Burcham. And the backup story is written, drawn, and colored by Sarah Peter Durocher. The letters and design are by Jake M. Wood, and the editors are David Marriott, Tom Waltz, and Riley Farmer. There are two covers for this issue. The first cover is Glyph and Tap Out in a passionate embrace. That is art by Jack Lawrence and colors by Priscilla Tramontano. And cover B is by Sarah Peter Durocher, and that is Cosmos seeing blast off in the distance, star-crossed lovers, if you will. And that's all her art and colors by Sarah Peter Durocher. So, Daryl, which of these two covers do you like?
Well, I mean, they're both good. I mean, each one of them represents a story in the book, so it's not like if you pick one, you're kind of leaving the other one out. So, neither one of them represent both stories. So, it's kind of hard to pick one without saying, I like this one better. So I'm gonna probably go with Sarah's because I like her art in this one. But Jack's looks really good too. It's a really nicely drawn image. I do like his art in this one as well. But Sarah's, I just like the combination of all the different methods she has using here.
Cool. Jeremy, which one are you going to pick?
I have to agree that they're both really good images. I'll end up with the regular cover just because that's what's in my pull list, but I really like the retailer incentive. It just, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm more familiar with Cosmos than Glyph and Tap Out, but I just really like it. The space and the little trails and stuff. It's just a nice image. I also like with the way the IDW is doing their new like number and logo and stuff in the corner. I like how they made it into a heart for this issue. It was just a nice little touch.
I think I'm gonna make it unanimous and pick is this a retailer incentive or cover B or whatever? I don't know, but it's Sarah.
It says retailer incentive.
Oh, I don't know how I missed that, but okay. Sarah Peter Durocher. I think I just like that Cosmos. That's the Generations Cosmos toy, and I love that toy, and she captures it perfectly here in this image. So great job. And then we've got Blast Off in the distance. All right, let's get into the story. So starting with the main story, this is the story of Glyph and Tap Out. On Cybertron, Glyph is a master scientist, technician, and linguist whose skills are admired by her peers. At the end of her shift, Nautica stops her before she can leave. She informs Glyph that her proposal, submitted 57 kilocycles ago, has been approved. She has gotten clearance to conduct a xenolinguistics study of the pre-industrial organics living on planet SDS-359. Meanwhile, Tap Out is cruising the streets of Iacon, handing out flyers advertising his underground gladiatorial match with Apeface. The arenas have been shut down, but Tap Out is continuing the tradition underground. Unfortunately, most bots just aren't interested in watching the fights anymore. At his next match, only 2 bots show up, and they quickly get bored and leave before anyone can land a punch. Apeface sees the writing on the wall and tells Tap Out he's done. There's no reason to fight if you don't have an audience. A little later, Glyph shows up. She was there to cheer her friend Tap Out on, but Tap Out tells her she's too late. His gladiatorial match fizzled out, and he's a has-been whose job and livelihood is obsolete. To avoid slipping into despair, he asks Glyph how her cycle has been going. Glyph tells him she's got a great new opportunity to study aliens off-world. Tap Out is happy for her, but can't hide his disappointment that he'll be left alone while she's having an adventure on an alien planet. But then Glyph tells him the best part. She can take a bot with her for security, so they're going on her alien adventure together. When they arrive on planet SDS-359, the native mammalian raccoon-like aliens come out to meet them. Glyph tries to communicate with them based on her research of their language. She tries a simple greeting, but the natives become very agitated and flee in fear. Glyph reasons that she must have botched the translation. Meanwhile, the aliens run to a rock structure and open a large gate, and out comes the natives' champion, a giant lizard monster that looks a lot like a T-Rex. Glyph is concerned, but Tap Out is excited. A fight is just what he's looking for. As the T-Rex charges, Tap Out delivers a savage uppercut, knocking it out in one shot. Surprisingly, the little raccoon aliens cheer in delight for the new champion. Glyph is perplexed, but Tap Out enjoys the adulation. As they continue their stay on SDS-359, the natives send monster after monster to challenge Tap Out. He defeats them all, one after the other. Meanwhile, Glyph seems to be getting nowhere with her study of the aliens' language. She can't communicate with them at all, but Tap Out seems to have figured out that actions speak louder than words. Finally, Glyph tells Tap Out she needs his help. She needs him to try and talk to the aliens rather than just fight another monster. If they can't make any progress and establish communication, they'll have to return to Cybertron in failure. Tap Out reluctantly agrees to do as she asks. As the natives approach, expecting another brawl, Tap Out uses Glyph's notes to speak in their language that today he wants to talk, not fight. The aliens react very angrily and summon a giant land squid monster for another fight. Tap Out can't hide his delight since he gets to have another great match. But before he can attack, Glyph drives past him in car mode, transforms in midair, and bashes the squid monster with Tap Out's club. As she helps Tap Out to his feet, she playfully tells him he screwed up the translation. And they share a loving embrace, happy to be alone together on this alien world. After fighting the monster with Tap Out, Glyph has an epiphany. She did have the alien's language translated mostly correct, but communication needs to include recognizing shared values and respect in addition to knowing the right words. When Glyph and Tap Out fought the alien's monsters together, they earned their respect and opened the lines of communication. Their study complete, Glyph and Tap Out prepare to leave SDS-359. They return to Cybertron with a deep bond they'll carry with them forever. The end. And then we have the backup story of Cosmos and Blastoff. In the vicinity of Cybertron's inner moon, Space Security Chief Cosmos is on duty, ever vigilant in his patrol of the sector. It's pretty routine and pretty boring. The only excitement is occasionally having to rescue Gears when he accidentally launches himself and escapes the moon's microgravity. On the next cycle, he picks up a proximity signal, which he assumes must be Gears' distress beacon again. He sends a radio message to the signal with a Starkey reply meant for Gears. But the response is not what he expects. It wasn't Gears, but a transport bot passing by named Blastoff. Cosmos apologizes and greets the bot, hungry for some communication during his very lonely patrol duty. Blastoff also knows the isolation of lonely space travel and opens a comm channel to continue the conversation with his new friend. The long cycles continue, and Cosmos and Blastoff pass the time trading stories. Cosmos finally asks to see Blastoff's face-to-face. Blastoff sends a digital image file of a group of bots. Cosmos receives it, but has no idea which bot in the picture is Blastoff. Cosmos looks the image up and down, trying to guess which bot is Blastoff. For every guess, Blastoff tells him he's wrong. Finally, Cosmos gives up, frustrated at the guessing game. But Blastoff teases that the picture was just a distraction so he could sneak up on Cosmos undetected. Cosmos turns his head around, and Blastoff is right there, greeting him in person. The end. So these were two cute little stories. The first story with Glyph and Tap Out, I found it interesting how much they used, like, the original Glyph and Tap Out came from a 3H comic, from back in the earlier BotCon days, and the Glyph is a repaint of Bumblebee and Tap Out is a repaint of Cliffjumper. So it was interesting to see them get the spotlight here. And yeah, it's a fun little story, about their having their kind of I guess honeymoon getaway on an alien planet fighting monsters. And that was cute. And then Cosmos and Blastoff, I thought was a fun story. Although at the end, I would have liked to have gotten some art of Blastoff, like that's the only disappointment I got there. Cosmos's rendering was really spot on. I mean, Sarah really nailed the Generations Cosmos figure design. But I would have liked to seen Blastoff. We know she can draw Blastoff from the Till All Are One series, so that would be cool. I
probably couldn't afford the appearance fee.
And I thought the Jack Lawrence's art for Glyph and Tap Out story was really well done, really cool. And I think, just the visual storytelling, all the little fight scenes with the aliens and everything, I just thought it was really nice. And I like the colors that Josh Burcham did, where, like, on Cybertron, you see all the people Glyph is working with, they're kind of in monochrome because they're kind of like, they're background characters, so they don't even get individual colors. I thought that was an interesting way to contrast how, like, Glyph is the star, and then when she's talking to Nautica, and the same with Tap Out when he's trying to hand out his flyers for his gladiatorial match. Although, do you really need, like, is that paper or aluminum flyers that he's handing out? Wouldn't it be easier to send digital files or something? I don't know. You're robots, guys. You're robots. But yeah, I thought these were two fun stories. I don't know what I was expecting with a Valentine's Day special for Transformers, but these were fun. Daryl, what did you think of these stories?
Well, to start off, I did like the art in both of them. The Jack Lawrence's art really fit this story quite well, and I'm looking at what is it? Shit, I just forgot his name. It's not Glyph, it's the other one. Tap Out. Yeah, Tap Out. So Tap Out being the like the rough and tumble gladiator kind of guy. He appears to have a broken nose or a repaired broken nose, which kind of fits the profile. So I kind of like that detail. Yeah, it just it being remolds of Bumblebee and Cliffjumper. That's just, it's really good to get the characterization, of these two. Tap Out, I mean, Cliffjumper was also pretty rough and tumble, but Tap Out being basically a gladiator and just wanting his own gladiatorial name to continue. That's really kind of cool. I liked the design, the way that they drew Ape Face. That's the Siege toy, like down to it's all the details on the figure. It's all the Siege toy there to the weapons ports and everything like that. It's right there. Mm-hmm. But no, I liked the art and everything from this. The story was fine. It was a nice, cute story. I agree with you. I don't really know what I was kind of really. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was thinking of like it was going to be like this first date kind of dinner kind of thing, and I don't know how that would even work with Transformers. So I'm pleased with the way it was written, because we got some action here, and I was pretty happy with that. and I like the little raccoon guys. They're fun, and they're, for the most part, I mean, they're nonverbal, so you don't really have to learn a whole lot about them. They're just kind of an organized species that has these kind of monsters that they can kind of wield when they're threatened, because they're pretty small and precious, and but they control these huge giant monsters. So, and so I know I liked this first story quite a bit. The action definitely helped a lot. The second story was short. That's one thing. I think it was written quite very well. I mean, is this Sarah's first written piece? I mean, is that
I think
confirmed?
so.
I think she said on Facebook. It was
so
written.
I liked it. I liked the way it was written. They kept. I think this is kind of somewhat of a way of showing like modern day dating in Cybertronian form, I guess. It's not exactly a date, but it's kind of like, hey, I saw you over there, and I wanted to get to know you, kind of thing. So I'm just gonna start sending you messages. I don't date, so I don't know how they do things now. But
you're also not a giant robot.
That's true. But no, I think it was very well done. It was very cute. The would somebody that is currently dating, look at me asking you guys this also, but would somebody that's currently dating send someone a giant picture filled with 1,000 bots or 1,000 people just to say, hey, this is a picture of me in here, good luck? I don't know. I mean, that's, I like I said, I'm not in the dating pool, but I do like how this was kind of how it ended, where how Blastoff had Cosmos guessing and nope. And then all of a sudden Blastoff's behind him. So it's very nice. And you're left with your imagination as to where it goes after that. So,
yeah. And you can, if you zoom in on the little picture, you can see a bunch, like you can see some of the Combaticons. You can see Onslaught and Swindle and Brawl, Vortex, all I guess Blastoff is in the front there.
I think Armada Demolisher.
Yeah, and Tidal Wave, Hot Shot, the I think the Siege hotshot.
That might be the one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
There's I think Aileron is in the background there. We'll have to ask Sarah what bots are featured in this little picture.
Well, I think
here.
I see Blastoff right there, second row, second from the left. So just over the shoulder of the blue armed one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. Yep, that is him.
Don't need to ask Sarah nothing.
Well, all the other bots though. Have you identified every bot?
When it comes out, I'm sure the digital version that comes out will be a lot cleaner.
I'm sure somebody on the wiki
Zooming
will
in.
go through it and identify them all.
All right, Jeremy, what did you think of this book?
I enjoyed them. Like you guys, I didn't know what to expect going into this. I definitely was not expecting like a major glyph and tap out story, even though they were on the cover. But I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe that was going to be a smaller story, but I was surprised, and I like how it fit into the current continuity with like Nautica and tap out blaming Sentinel Prime for like the closure of all the the arenas and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Jack's art did a really good job mixing the like organic and the Cybertronian. And I thought that was really good. Like particularly like the little raccoon creatures. They look so great, especially when they're like running in fear. I don't know. They're just so expressive with their eyes. I really like that. It had a nice mix of some action, and I love how they kind of flipped roles at the end with basically Glyphis, learns that Tap Out is actually, without realizing it, communicating with these creatures, and she learns from him and he learns from her. So it's a nice story. The Cosmos story, it's sad that he's still kind of lonely and kind of out by himself, even in this new continuity.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man, you can't give him a break. Although, it's nice that he has the whole like flirting with Blastoff, and I like that. I am wondering, has there been something mentioned before how Gears keeps launching himself into space?
That was funny.
It's actually I've read Transformers 17, which is also out this week, and it is introduced in that book. So I guess if that book had come out on time, you would have read that first and then gotten to this book.
Okay. So it's something we should have known for a few months.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's a good gag, and I like that he's kind of keeping a tally of every time he has to rescue Gears. And then there's the one time with like Gears trying to swim in space to get to his arm. And Cosmos is just kind of sitting back watching. He's like, he's doing that as if it would help him move forward. So it's a lot of really good writing, and Sarah's art, you can never go wrong. She did a great job coloring it too. I mean, the lettering was good too, so I'm pretty pleased with this all around.
All right, well, that will do it for the Transformers Valentine special. I wonder if this is going to become an annual event. Yeah, so this was fun and different, and yeah, I hope people will check this out. Something unusual. That was Transformers Valentine's Day special. Happy Valentine's, everyone. And let's move on to Transformers Media News.
Okay, in media news this week, we've got a couple Transformers Bumblebee movie themed medals at Universal Orlando in their epic character race. So this was some kind of race that they put on, and they gave away some medals, a gold and a silver. Both medals were 3D sculpted. This was a 5K race, and racers that received the silver medal featured Shrek and Bumblebee. The 10K runners got a gold one with Minion and Velociraptor Blue. So only the silver had Bumblebee on it. You can take a look at the medal in the pictures on the show note. Next up, we got images from Transformers Earth Wars. Transformers Forged to Fight. This is a preview of Legends of Cybertron Rise of Kolkular. and they're introducing a new character, from what I understand. So yeah, neato. If you're playing this game, let us know who Kolkalar is. Yeah,
I believe that's a place, not a person. That's one of the.
But it has risen. Rise of Kolkalar. Places don't rise unless it's a base of some kind, I guess, maybe, or a transformer. Might be a transformer. Okay. Anyway, let us know what Kolkalar is. I don't think any of us are still playing this game. John-Paul, are you playing Forged to Fight?
No. Free Time and me are a tremendously unlikely bedfellows. So I keep seeing what everybody else is doing and going, that looks great. And have no idea about anything that's actually happening, I'm afraid.
All right. Well,
Kolkalar is the capital city of Kaon.
It's also how a drunk person says calculator. Kolkalar. Like that.
Last up, we've got Transformers Cyberverse Season 2. Character designer Leo Chiloa has posted some design work for a bunch of different characters, including Backbite, Cheetor, Jetfire, and Scraplet and Snout Leader. So take a look at these. These are really fun. The designs are really they're just adorable. The Cyberverse Season 2 had a lot of really fun designs in it. The Sharkticons they're great. I like the progression of the sad, angry, very angry faces of the Sharkticon, because they're all essentially identical, but that's fun. John-Paul, did you get a chance to watch Cyberverse? We haven't really spoken since it's been out, so I mean it's produced right there in Ireland, so.
Yep. Again, I have to tell you, I have not watched it.
The kid's got to watch it though, right?
I know. We tried. I did try. I will tell you a story in a minute, actually, because it's funny. About watching Transformers with my son Jake. No, I did try and watch Rescue Bots with him, which I do actually find Rescue Bots kind of delightful, but he isn't that bothered by it. But about a year ago, I think, I decided to make Jake watch Transformers the movie with me.
Which one?
The movie.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, there is just the one.
Oh, okay.
So we're watching Transformers the movie together, and I had this moment where I'm sat with my son's got over the I want to watch something else thing, and he's kind of just he's sat there and he's watching it, and we get to the bit the Autobot shuttles attacking Autobot City, and Prime comes in, and I'm there, and I had goosebumps. Because the moment was coming. The Megatron must be starting to matter the cost. And I'm there going, I'm watching this with my son.
Mm-hmm.
I love this moment. I love this thing. It's so exciting to me to be sharing this as generations. And you've got the Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost. And then, and Jake just goes, I need a poo poo. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we went and dealt with that, and as soon as we came back in, Jake went, I don't want this anymore. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. So I had this.
Kids are jerks.
I know. So this moment of just beauty, this perfect moment, this diamond perfect moment was just shattered by my son's bowel movements.
Yep.
So yes, we haven't made it through any other Transformers. He watched Dungeons and Dragons for a bit. Oh. The cartoon. Yeah.
Cool.
Quite like that for a while. He-Man, he used to watch for a bit, the old one.
Mm-hmm.
But he's gone off all those now.
Oh. Well,
Paw Patrol.
They'll come around.
Yeah.
Cyberverse,
Paw Patrol seems to be it all.
They're only 11-minute episodes, so maybe for, a younger kid with a shorter attention span, that might be helpful.
Yeah. I'm not sure what channel it airs on over here. I don't know if don't think it's on Netflix or anything over here, but that's the other reason I tend not to see things, is it's not on at times when I'm available, or it's not on a streaming service. So
they are on YouTube, but I think it's only accessible in the US, unfortunately.
Yeah.
They're all on Daily Motion.
Yeah, we can make them available for you if you need them.
Okay. Wink.
Yeah, but that's it for media news this week, guys.
All right, let's move on to convention news.
All right. TF Nation.
Heard of it?
If you weren't aware, it's coming up, and tickets are actually going to be available February 15th. So tomorrow, by the time you're hearing this, they're going to have Peter Cullen this year, which is a really huge thing. And I think someone that you might know, JP, Ed Peary.
And the beautiful Ed Peary. Yep.
Yeah. He's doing a piece of art that will be pre-signed by Peter Cullen with a certificate of authenticity that will be a separate £50 purchase, no matter which ticket you have. So when you get your tickets to the convention, make sure you pick up one of these. There is a limit to 10 copies per buyer because there's a limited run. I think that's a little high in my mind. I mean, that's just asking to go on eBay.
Yeah.
But it's a really nice print. It shows like all the various incarnations of Optimus Prime that Peter Cullen has voiced, from G1 through the live action movies to Prime, and even I think the video games that are kind of in the back there. So
I liked his post on Twitter where he said, "There, this is done. Now tell me why it's shit."
Well, going with the theme of people's opinions of stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
Personally, I think
I think it's amazing. I mean, the thing with Ed has helped me out a lot over the years, particularly with flats. So he's helped me out tremendously with doing the sort of the flat parts of the colours for Regen and some of the definitive collection issues, and also Dawn of the Predacus. And oftentimes people that do the flats, because it's sort of a stage in the process, rarely get credits. But Ed is so talented that I've always fought very hard to try and get him a credit on the books where I can, just because
it's hard enough getting yourself on the books.
This is a fair point, well made. That yes, often books I've worked on don't have my name on them; they have somebody else's. But yeah, he's as you can tell from this image, he's unspeakably talented. He's actually a very good writer, a very good artist, and there was a point I'd have said he was a good colorist, but actually I think he's now brilliant. Colorist. He's one of those people who has it all, which of course makes me hate him with a fiery passion. But no, honestly, I think he's one of those people that's overdue a shot at an actual book as an artist. But it's true, anything you post on, whatever you put up, piece of art, piece of writing, there are people in wait to tell you how much they hate it, and some people who even go out of their way to tell the person who did it that they hate it, often unconstructively. And and some people ignore it, some people don't read it at all, and some people read it and don't take it to heart. But we could all be just a tiny bit nicer to one another at times, or put things in a different way. So yeah, I think I think his comment was sort of aimed around the fact that there's always someone that will tell you exactly why everything you've done is wrong. Right. So,
we even hear it on the podcast. But
yeah, well, I mean, I'm sorry, but I have to tell you, we're friends, and I need to tell you everything that you do is just wrong. So, but I mean, you've had me on, which was a terrible mistake.
Yeah, we're realizing this now at the end.
Yeah. It's all too late now. Edit me out. You'll be fine.
But before we move on, I do want to note that looks like on Twitter, someone from TF Nation noted that I think you get an unsigned version of this with the leader package. But that if you want the signed version, that's the £50, which I mean it's probably one of the more reasonably priced things you could get at a convention.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll go for that. Moving on, we mentioned this on the toy show, but we'll mention it here. Cybfest 2020 has been announced. It's August 1st in the Kent Commons Community Center in Kent, Washington. So we'll have more details as we get closer to that. And then this is something I actually saw you share on Facebook, JP. Retcon 2020 has been announced September 26th in Helsingborg, Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
Registration is open, and they have announced Gary Chalk and James Roberts as their main convention guests. So that is really
now
cool.
Gary Chalk I've heard of, but I've no idea who this James Roberts is.
He's some fan fiction.
Okay. Yeah.
I sat next to Gary Chalk on a panel at TFCon a few years ago, and he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he seems like unfortunately I've never met him, but I would love to. He just seems like a genuinely lovely chap.
Look for him in the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Opens today in theaters.
We were not paid for that.
I can assure you that whilst if I were to see the movie, I would look for him. It is fairly conditional on me seeing the movie, which is not going to happen. But bless you for you've given it people at least one reason to go see the movie. So.
Yeah, I'll wait for the YouTube clip someone cuts out of him in the movie.
Well, he's in the trailer, so you can see him right in the trailer.
He? Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. All right. I'll go watch the trailer. Yeah.
I think it's the first trailer before they fixed the Sonic graphics. He's one of the generals who hires Dr. Robotnik.
Isn't he always a general in everything?
Yes,
he is.
He's nature's general.
I think he was on Arrow a season or two ago, like right around the time that he was at the TFCon. He was playing some high-ranking military.
Because was it Stargate? He was in, and he was like a Russian major or something. Like he's an army guy. He's in just most things.
He's got that voice.
He's got authority in his voice, which is what made him good for Primal. So I guess it makes sense. But it's just funny that you said he's a general. Again, that's interesting. Yeah.
One more thing about Retcon before we wrap up. They are they're selling hardcovers of More Than Meets the Eye in Swedish. And this will have the next installment of that, which covers the arc with Optimus Prime's early days on Cybertron as a police officer. I can't remember the name of that arc, Charles. You're failing me.
Chaos Theory.
There you go. And they wouldn't let me down. So, and this is all in Sweden. I'm not going to try to pronounce the name More Than Meets the Eye in Sweden, which they have here, or in Swedish. But I think it's really cool that they're doing this. I mean, we've seen with some of the books they've been translated to Japanese, and I know it probably means more to the local fans to be able to read it in their native language. So that's really cool.
Oh, was that the one with that was maybe that was a different one. I think Chaos Theory was before More Than Meets the Eye. The other one was
wasn't Shadow Play, was it?
Yes, Shadow Play. I think that was it. Yeah.
Well, you have disappointed me, Charles.
Yeah. That's why we invited JP on.
Yeah.
The man who has read and seen nothing but somehow retains knowledge of it all.
All right. Yeah. Well, that is all of our convention news this week.
All right, and let's finish up the show with feedback. And we have a voicemail from our Donatreon #1 Derek.
Hey guys, #1 Derek here. Just wanted to tell you how much I enjoyed last week's show with the topic of being Beast Wars and you having Ant from TFU.info on the show. I love all you guys' insight on the show, especially Ant's insight. He alluded to talking about the writing and the voice acting. Just gave a thorough analysis of the show. Beast Wars is actually what got me back into the fandom back then as well, as I was in college, during that time too. But the writing, the voice acting, everything about that show was just on point. Getting back to referencing G1 and all. I mean, I was just in awe of the show back then, even the animation, which back then was actually top notch. I know we can't compare it to today's standards, but it'd be foolish to. It'd be kind of foolish too. But anyway, I'm actually getting ready to start my Beast Wars collecting with the third party figures as well, and I can't wait to get that started. Really looking forward to TFCon this year as well. Hope to see you guys, well, at least one of you guys there. But yeah, love having Ant on the show. Actually a big fan of his, as I am a big fan of you all. Keep up the good work. And yeah, that's it. Awesome show last week. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Derek. Yeah, it was great fun having Ant on, and we'll definitely have to have him back for another go round. He was a great co-host.
Yeah.
And Beast Wars is good, despite what Daryl says.
It's very good.
I think we've established Daryl has no taste.
Daryl must be on mute because he's not defending himself.
He's feeling shame.
I have all the toy taste, so I enjoy their toys. The Beast Wars toys were good. I cannot agree with the show opinion.
Are these the toys you bought in a random box?
That was a long time ago. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of those are gone now, but yes.
All right, we've got a little bit more feedback. I think this also pertains to Daryl a little bit. So first, this is from the Discord. We have True Dead Man. So he says, piece of feedback about this week's alt mode. This is from last week. I don't know who it was, as most of you all were going back and forth quite a bit at the time, but someone was either typing, using a mouse, or playing with a transformer, because I could hear a constant click, 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 clack, click in the background. I honestly have no idea what was being discussed because the noise took me out of the discussion, and that's all I could hear. If you're on a live mic, stop playing with that shit that makes noise. That's my feedback. Thanks for a great show.
So this is how I find out that my clock collection is not what people want.
And we got another. So that's not all, though. That's not all, because on Twitter, a friend of the show, Mike Seibert, also had some feedback, and he says, who is playing with toys? There's a constant ratchet joint clicking throughout the entire episode. LOL. Daryl, your response.
I don't know. I don't know what they're referring to. I mean, I have some things around here. I was making things ready for trips to the store, but
we record alt mode after trips to the store.
I don't know what you're talking. I was getting ready for next week's trips to the store. It was good. I mean, I'm just trying to tidy things up around here. And I listened to the show. I listened to the entire show because I like to hear my own voice. And I didn't hear anything. I didn't hear anything that took me out.
Also on the Discord, Mike chimed in because we actually had some issues because of the Super Bowl. We had to push our recording date a little bit, so that gave Mike less time to edit the show. So he wasn't able to do the proper pass through the editing that he took. So he said, this is what happens when I don't get the chance to edit the show. But actually he did 90% of the work anyway. So we still were able to get the show out because Mike was still able to do a lot, just not everything. So thank you, Mike, for all you do is what I'm trying to say.
If anything, it just kind of shows how blessed we are to have Mike to do this editing for us.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know how much noise Daryl actually brings in.
You guys don't know how distracting it is sitting here, and I'm surrounded by toys, and you're telling me don't touch them? Don't touch them.
At least go on mute.
In fairness, it's all those bits of wood that you keep power drilling during the show. There's a bit of stress relief that, to be honest, it's amazing that Mike can do anything with that, but some clicks is the least of anyone's problems, I think.
All right, I think that'll do it for feedback this week. And that'll do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. JP, again, thank you for joining us this week. And
thank you. And genuinely thank you as well for accommodating me with a slightly different time, because I love you guys. That is a simple fact. I do love chatting to you. when my brain is addled with a total absence of sleep, sometimes it's harder than I would like to form sentences that aren't just screams and howls of pain. So thank you very much, and thank you for having me again.
It was our pleasure, and yeah, we're really happy to have you on. So thanks for joining us.
It's a lot of fun.
All right, JP, you did it on the toy show, but let's do it again. Plugs. What do you got to plug? Show, the floor is yours. Tell everyone where they can find you on the internet, what they can find of yours, and where they can get it.
Okay, I am on Twitter as @wordmongerer. I'm on Facebook under my own name. I'm on Instagram under Wordmongerer, but I will never see anything you post there, and I won't post anything there just because I keep forgetting. And the same on Tumblr. Does that still exist? Kids still using that?
It exists. I don't know if anyone uses it since they kicked off the porn.
Well, I'm one of the non-porn pages on there, so I should still be all right. And stuff coming up. There's the Predacon book coming out either this week or next. I'm not actually sure. Transformers 84 is coming out in April. Agent Moose is coming out in, I think I said it was August. And I'll be at TF Nation in August as well. Oh yes, and issue, was it 17 of the ongoing? I've got some pages in. And issue 21. There's the cover that I'm really happy with by Casey and myself. So look out for that. Other than that, I'm on street corners and by the docks. So
cool.
I'm living in a post-Brexit paradise. So I will sell my kidneys.
Oh, okay. It's a bit of a downer ending, but okay.
Not at all. It's good. Get good money for a kidney. It's all on the up for this guy.
Fair enough. Enjoy your kidney riches.
I will do, yeah.
Oh, he said kidney? I thought he said kid's knee.
Oh.
He's going to sell his kid's
You've just
knees.
given me another income stream. So thanks.
I'm an idea guy.
What kind of parent am I that I haven't immediately launched to the possibility of harvesting my son's body parts? Honestly, I'm a terrible father.
Yeah.
So, but thank
That's
you
what
for
we've been trying
reminding me.
to tell you.
I know. I think we all knew it. Just thank you for finally having the courage to say it.
All right, everyone. That'll do it for this week's episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
He's always with us.
I'm turning off the clocks like it's Brexit o'clock.
All right, let's talk about some comics news.
Smooth.
The button was not working when I was hitting it.
The pause gets edited out anyway.
This joke will have landed terribly then.
It'll probably get edited out too.
Why am I even here?
I ask myself that every week.